Holy crap. Hey, everybody, I'm Tommy, and you are on the. Well, I was going to say something really awful. Yeah. It's a good look, isn't it? Yeah, well, it is what it is. Sorry? The picture's fantastic. It's incredible. Problem is, it's also an iPad. The computer just died about 2 seconds ago. Not in the normal sense of the word, in a far more annoying sense of the word. I avoid updates at all cost. I make it almost religious how much I avoid updates. And I've been avoiding this update now for how long? Since North America. And unfortunately, I just got okey doked with it. Let me see where we're at on that, by the way. Oh no, we're good. We're good. We're up to 9%. By tomorrow at noon, that should be good. All right, people. I'm Tommy, and you're on the Love Boat. This isn't going to take long. Listen up, people. This will only take a second. I'm going to have to scream because I don't have a microphone. I have a very odd mirror that makes me feel a very odd camera that makes me feel very strange filming, and I really can't see a whole lot of comments. But other than that, it's all right. So a funny thing happened, and I don't mean funny, haha. Could you do me a favor, Johnny Scoville? Can you kick on that AC and hand me that black thing right there by the TV? Sorry, folks. This has been it's a lot easier when I have the computer and this thing sort of works for me. There you go. We had a weird thing happen the other day. I don't know if any of you guys happen to be fight fans, as in MMA fight fans, but there's a cat that used to fight by the name of Rampage Jackson. And if you've ever seen the guy fight, Rampage had skills, like mad skills. This was actually a really entertaining guy to watch in the ring. And he's got a son named Raja. And Raja looks a lot like his old man. And apparently he is starting to get into the into the fight game. However, the other day, he beat a guy close to death, August 23rd. He went down to a Knox X Pro Wrestling event in LA. And there was a guy there that they call Psycho Stu Smith. His name is Stuart. They call him Psycho Stu. And before this thing happens, right, they're all out back, and Stu goes up and crushes a beer can on the kid's face. The reason he did this is because that's part of the shtick of the wrestling game. They were setting up, for later in the day when he was going to come in the ring, and it was going to be this whole event. But Raja didn't take it well. And I think the problem was, if you want to know the truth, I think the problem was the guy was streaming. And it's very much like some of these other streamers that we've covered on here before. People like Johnny Somali, people like Ice Poseidon, these people that get really gassed up by their audience. Vitali is another incredible one. This Vitali guy beat the crap out of a woman on 60 grams of mushrooms and ends up getting the charges dropped because he paid the woman a large amount of money. I mean, he beat the bark off this woman. If you could have seen what she looked like. But there's a recurring theme with a lot of these content creators where they push the envelope and they do everything within their power to try to draw controversy. And a lot of them do it by traveling to other cultures and then embarrassing people there. And it's depressing stuff. It's not a lot of fun to watch if you want to know the truth. You know, I was joking with Johnny Scoville the other day because on the way to where we shop, there's a guy that sells wood. He bundles this wood into piles of what? 8 sticks? Maybe 9? And the stuff there are different scents you can buy. So you can buy cedar, you can buy like a mesquite kind of a smell. And this is stuff that people use not only to cook with, but also to burn to keep insects away. You know what they used to call a bundle of sticks, Johnny Scoville? They used to call it a faggot. That's a term you can't say on the internet anymore. They will cancel you for saying that. But I was joking with Johnny at the time as we were walking by this particular street. I said, "Do you smell that?" And he goes, "No, what am I smelling?" I said, "Faggots." And I said, if we were Vitali, we could shoot a video about this. We would pick on these people using that word because these people sell sticks, and we would go up and get in their grill. And I promise you, I'd get a hell of a lot of subscribers. It's a pretty ugly world. And currently, the guy that they call Johnny Somali is looking at, from my understanding, at a bare minimum, he's going to do 6 years incarcerated. A 6-pack. He's going to go away away for 6 years because he got in the face of people in the Philippines. He pulled hats off of police officers. He got on a cop's motorcycle and started to act like he was stealing the thing. And then he literally stole a fan and said, "This is my last fan." It's actually kind of funny. "This is the only fan I have left." And he grabs this huge fan and runs through the city with it, tries to take it back to his hotel. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Vitaly. But this guy is sitting in a Filipino jail and is looking at doing a hell of a lot of time. Like, this dude's going to be incarcerated for a hot minute. And the Johnny Somali character is actually in South Korea. What he did was lap dance on statues that were erected to commemorate women who during World War II were used as slave prostitutes. Because that's funny, right? What wouldn't be funny about lap dancing on a statue like that, or covering her with baby oil like you Diddy? That dude's looking at a minimum of about 6 years. They're saying Vitaly could get 20. And the jail that Vitaly is in right now is a friggin' gulag. It really is. There are guys piled up like cordwood all over the floor. It's an absolute nightmare where this cat is. And you know what? I sleep better knowing he's there. I'm sorry, I do. This is a guy that goes and takes advantage of the cultures of other countries as a way to make money. And when he got interviewed about it, he said, "You know, the bigger scene that I make, the more money I make." He said, "If I get arrested and I go away for a month, when I get out, every one of my videos will have millions of views." This is where we're at. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? It's an absolutely beautiful thing. It's disgusting. But what happens is there's a phenomenon that if you've never been a content creator, it might be something that doesn't make a lot of sense to you. But when you're live and you've got 2,000 people in the chat and they're all screaming things as fast as they can, if people are putting up super chats, they can push people in directions that maybe isn't the best way to go. And I feel blessed that I never kind of went down that IRL, in real life, they call it. And what it really means is just going out and embarrassing people and acting like a complete and utter jackwagon. But it's been, most of these people are in trouble one way or the other. But what happened to Rajah Jackson the other day, this guy was on Kick. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the platform Kick. It's another streaming platform, and it's one that, well, how would you say it? Bottom of the food chain? It's the kind of thing that doesn't kick too many people off of it. Johnny Somali's last bastion. A lot of the other guys were only allowed on Kick after they'd been kicked off of every other good platform anywhere, right? But they were on Kick. And after this guy crushes the can on Rajah Jackson's face, he decides that he's going to get back at the guy. And one of the wrestlers gasses him up and says, "You're going to be getting in the ring anyway." You know, he says, "Bring receipts." Which I assume meant beat the crap out of this guy, because what he did was he went and picked up this Stuart Psycho Stu character and sort of did a body slam, but dropped him on his head, which instantly rendered the cat unconscious. So Rajah Jackson, being the brain surgeon that he is, gets on top of him and starts sawing wood. I mean, just one after another. Funny thing is, right before he went into the ring, he was talking to a live audience and saying, "How many subs do you think it can get me if I pick this guy up and body slam him?" He literally was caving into an audience of people that were pushing his buttons. If you go back to Japan, or if you go back to South Korea and you got that asshole, Johnny Somali, playing air horn or air raid sounds in the subway. These are the sounds that are made when a rogue missile will be launched at South Korea or at Japan, depending on which country, because he did it twice. But he's in the subway blasting this thing on a boombox. You know, if you're in Japan, these are people that haven't forgotten that 2 atomic bombs were dropped on their countries. This is in bad taste. He's marching up and down the aisle of the train yelling Nagasaki, Hiroshima. And we wonder why America's hated. You know? Is this the future of streaming? I want to tell you something. There are people I would love to talk about right now, but I don't talk about content creators. Right? These guys aren't content creators. They're legendary jackwagons, and almost all of them are incarcerated with the exception of Rajah Jackson, but I have a feeling he's going to be incarcerated in the very near future. This was a pretty big screw up. This wasn't your run-of-the-mill fart around screw up. This was sawing logs on a guy's face. This guy ended up in the hospital. And when he first got there, he was unconscious for a long period of time. And then I think it has freaked out the dad stoked the fires even worse. Rampage Jackson calls him and says, he calls his son a bitch. This is the father. Calls his son a bitch. He goes, did you just get slapped around by a guy wearing tights? What are you, a bitch? Father to a son. I can't read that. Who just gifted that? That was Lisa Trimble. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa Trimble. I appreciate it. I am shooting on a screen that's this big, so that was so small. Lisa, thank you so much. I truthfully appreciate it. There are people pushing buttons. There are people getting streamers to do things that they shouldn't do. And you know what? These are big names. These are people we've all heard of. Do you know how many jackwagons are out there acting like fools for 30 people, 15 people? This in real life kind of streaming where you just go and make people uncomfortable and do anything you can to rile up the general public is a problem. It's an issue. It really is. Unfortunately, it pays, right? For real, this pays. This is a genre that pays. There are people, I promise you, no names, but there are dudes that you all know. People that used to make a very specific kind of content. And now what they do is they go out and get in the faces of people who allegedly they're trying to save and get in the grill of these people and start calling them punks and bitches and doing this around their 4-year-old kids, 10-year-old kids. Classy. I was listening to my brother do the show that he just did and talking about the pepper community. I'll tell you what, it's bigger than the pepper community. This thing morphs. This thing grows. It turns into what it's going to turn into. There's an evolution, right, of in this kind of genre. There's an evolution. There was a period of time where the people that went live would communicate. They would have a message of some sort. They're talking about something that they care about. And they talk about these little communities. Johnny talks about the pepper community, right? We used to talk a lot about sobriety. There's true crime. There's all of these different communities out there. Now there are groups of people who don't care who they're looking at. They're going to watch any IRL in real life, providing that it's cringe, providing that watching this thing just makes you cringe. I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me from an entertainment standpoint. Audra, is that Audra that says at least Jackass did things to each other? You know what? It's my poor young generation. It's sad what we're becoming. I'm not surprised. I'm really not. And I'll tell you what, I wish I could say it's gonna, I talk a lot about what happens if you pull something far enough in one direction, it snaps back in the other direction. It doesn't come back to where it started. It shoots past, obviously. I don't know that social media is something that ought to be saved. For real. The funny thing is that people are talking about how the algorithm has changed, right? The algorithm has changed. The algorithm no longer pushes any channel that isn't big. Now that's the kind of thing that'll make you scratch your head, because that means that there will only be big channels from this point on, or do they randomly pick winners? Because I got a lot of emails from a lot of you that said that the new guidelines just don't push smaller content. And you know what? May be the case. It may be the case. And I've said for a long time that it's really obvious, because even if you're not into hate, even if you're not into that kind of content, it shows up in your feed. It shows up in my feed, and I don't watch trolls. But you get that stuff constantly in your feed. And the reason that they do it is because it sells. Across the board, it sells. It's one of those things that when we drive down the road, I've talked about this a million times, but if you're driving down the freeway and on the left side of the freeway are 6 sets of parents having picnics with their kids, and there's dogs out there and everybody's playing and it's just beautiful, you're going to drive by without seeing it. But if there's a car wreck and a fire on the other side of the road, it's going to be one of those things that you take a look at. Or if there's a car chase, we are, as human beings, drawn to that kind of energy more than we're drawn to positive stuff. That may not make sense, but I promise you it's the truth. And it has something to do with survival mechanisms. It has something to do with the most base level of your brain, where you look at things and you go, oh, this is important. This is the kind of thing that if I don't pay attention, somehow this might hurt me down the line. But I'm not sure that this experiment ought to be saved, which probably sounds really stupid from a guy that talks online all the time. But I've been watching what it's morphing into. I've watched what people do, and there used to be the genre of people who go out and audit. They would go out and look at people and watch what they do. Now there's a genre of people that just talk about what you can get away with, and they're gaining a lot of popularity because what they do is they stoke other people up. Just because you can do something does not mean you should do something. Do you follow me? I can take a camera and I can walk into a public library anywhere in the United States, and I can start walking up and down the aisles of the public library and filming because it's a public place. It's probably not going to make everybody inside very happy. And if there are people inside that have kids, they're going to start getting squirrely. What's the weirdo doing with a camera? And you know what? I get it. I get that. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And we're keeping our rights together. I don't know, man. I don't know. There was a time where I thought those kind of rights are super important. The ability to have free speech, I think, is a beautiful thing. Don't come in my living room and try to have free speech, right? Don't stand on my porch and try to have free speech, or I'll hit you with a baseball bat. I'm sorry. There's got to be some place in your life where you don't have to be invaded. It's a popular genre. It's an amazingly popular genre to get into someone's grill and create tension to the point where everybody watching is wondering if somebody's going to pull out a gun or is somebody going to hit somebody. Maybe we got a cop show up. There'll be some pepper spray and a taser. I remember when I first started doing this. Correct. You can, but there's consequences. Well, you hear people say all the time, hey, I have the right to free speech. The right to free speech is something that I think people believe that transcends all. And there are things that you can't do. Like, you can't walk up into my house and start screaming. That's not free speech. Inside my house, I can dictate what people say. You want to come in my house and start screaming things, I'm going to be able to remove you. Yeah. And social media is that way. There's a reason that I got people here with wrenches. You want to come onto the porch here and start screaming and be in a jackwagon, we get rid of you. It's kind of logical. In the real world, though, there's some kind of nobility if you're the person that goes and pushes that envelope. If you're the person that goes and gets in the face of all these people and yells free speech while you're doing it. I'll be honest with you, I kind of find it disgusting. I can't imagine going someplace and filming without saying to people before I get there, hey, man, you cool with me filming here? We'd like to do it in the corner so that none of the other, 2 days ago or something, my brother and I went to a place here in Salinas, and we filmed with the owner of a restaurant here. Great dude. Solid dude. Speaks good English, too. He's fun. But I'll tell you something. The first time ever we've been in that restaurant, we went to they have like a top floor. It's so that you can view out from the ocean from like a balcony almost. And we've never been up there once. We went up there because we didn't want to film anybody else while we were doing that. Could you? Probably. And I probably could have made a really funny video that would have gotten a lot of views if I just talked about those faggots they were burning around the corner. Could I do that? Sure. Is it a good idea? Probably not. And I hate that we can't use words anymore. I'll be honest with you. It gasses me up. It bums me out that there are words that have been taken out of the English language. And there are so many words that are taken off of YouTube. Can't say rape, can't say assault, can't say murder, can't say suicide. All of those. Can't say Epstein. These are words that automatically are just going to get you demonetized, and it's going to get your video buried. Can't say rape. You got to say grape. You remember all of the time I spent tap dancing so that I didn't say any of these words? It's frustrating to beat hell. So the free speech thing, it's okay for that platform to push you getting up into people's faces and screaming about free speech, right? As you trash their business, as you scare locals. It's all just free speech, man. But if I come on here and just have a real conversation with people and I talk about something like rape, they're just going to go, yeah, bury that video. Does that make any sense at all? The future of the platform is not bright. Do you know what I'm saying? I apologize to anybody whose questions I'm not answering. I am not on my computer. I am on a an iPad because my computer lost it right before I went live today. And normally this would have been about a 1 hour show. I grabbed, on the bright side, it's a really good iPad. I probably, I think I got 13% left on this iPad, so it's probably going to end up being a shorter video. But I'll tell you something. I wish the computer was up. This is a rant I would have liked to have gone off on for an hour. But you know what? I think you get the idea. Johnny made a point earlier, and let me hammer it home. The reason that this platform and everything like it is going to hell probably isn't the 71 people watching me here. It's probably not. But I'll make you a promise. Since I started on the lifeboat and turned it into the love boat, I said, if we were ever going to win the war on drugs, we would do it from the demand side, not from the supply side. There's always going to be somebody willing to take the risk to bring dope across the border because of how big the payout is, because one load of that can set your family up forever. So there's always going to be somebody ready to jump into the footprints of the guy that just got busted to carry the next load across the border. And it's hard to be angry at them for that. It really is. You have to sort of attack it from that side. If you were to attack it from the side of the demand, if there's nobody in the US that wants to buy a Percocet 30, a fake fentanyl pill, well, then they're going to stop running them across the border, I promise you. Nothing more frustrating in the world than smuggling something you can't sell. It's the same principle. It really is. We consume shit. So that's what they sell. All of us. To some degree, we all do it. We watch things and we say things like, well, it's a guilty pleasure, or I watch this because it's just garbage in, garbage out. Honest to God, take a week and don't watch anything that you find negative in any way and watch what it does to you. Watch how it changes your life. And I'm not trying to be a jackwagon, but most won't. Most won't. Why? Because it's a guilty pleasure. I'll be honest, I have one. I like watching people get tased that really deserve it, but I cut it out. I cut it out of my life. Because it started to get weird. It started to be one of those things where it's like I really started to take huge enjoyment. And I would justify it by saying, this is justice. These are people that absolutely had this coming. But you can church it up any way you want. It's me grooving to watching somebody get electricity run through them. Whether or not they got it coming, I don't know whether that's particularly healthy. I'm not talking about any of you. I'm talking about me. Talking about me. But if everybody just said, you know what? I'm not going to watch any feces on this platform ever again. When it pops up, I'm just going to walk away from it. I'm not going to promote any of this kind of stuff. What Raja Rampage did, Raja Jackson, if that cat doesn't get arrested for this, if I did this to anybody, he picked this guy up, threw him on his head, and punched him 20 times after he was unconscious. You know what kind of brain damage you could do to somebody whose head is on the ground and you're just pounding an unconscious skull? It's called counter coup. That dude's brain's in there sloshing around in water, going back and forth in cerebral spinal fluid, hitting the inside of his skull. It's the kind of thing that turns the normal person into the kind of thing that happened to Junior Seau and some of the other people that ended up taking their own lives because the traumatic brain injury doesn't allow them to be the person that they used to be. What Rajah Jackson did deserves a prison sentence. If he doesn't get one, it's probably got a lot to do with who his dad is. I'm sorry, but I mean, this is just, it was a beatdown. It was live. The company that handled the promotion has been cut by the larger, I think it was the WWE, and it was one of their little sponsor groups. But not because of what happened, but because of how they handled it afterwards. They didn't want anybody talking to the cops, but they encouraged everybody on earth to put it out on social media. Because clicks are good, right? Clicks are good. And yeah, this guy's a victim. But you got any idea how many people are going to watch that? We can monetize it. The world watching Rampage Jackson's kid almost kill somebody in a wrestling ring. Not a legit fight or anything. That wrestler didn't know it was coming. But, boy, that'll get you some clicks, won't it? All right, folks. It's too frustrating doing this on an iPad without the ability to hear what anyone's saying. For all I know, I'm pissing off the entire audience. I'd hate that. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to be back tomorrow, hopefully on a computer with a camera and a microphone. I hope the sound wasn't too bad. And I apologize, people, but I'm telling you, right before I went live, my computer did the I'm leaving and going out of town. Between now and the next time I see you, do me a favor, put a little love in your heart. I'm going to finish this show when I have a computer. But I have no idea whether or not people are enjoying this or hating it. So between now and the next time I see you, put some love in your heart. I'm Tommy. We'll see you on the next one. God bless.